In the vast world of Korean webtoons, few stories have captured as much attention as Ranker Who Lives a Second Time, also known as Second Life Ranker. This manhwa, adapted from the popular web novel, takes readers into a dark yet fascinating universe filled with betrayal, revenge, and the relentless climb toward power. Unlike typical power fantasy stories, it combines the emotional drive of personal loss with the thrill of an epic adventure inside a mysterious tower. Our story begins with Yeonwoo, a young man who has lived an ordinary life full of struggles, only to be confronted with a tragedy that changes everything. One day, he receives a package, an old, dust-covered watch that once belonged to his twin brother. But this is no ordinary heirloom. Inside the watch, Yeonwoo finds a diary written by the brother he thought had died years ago, and in those pages, he uncovers the truth. His brother hadn't simply disappeared. He had been trapped inside an otherworldly tower called the Obelisk, where countless players from different worlds fight, climb, and kill to reach the top. The diary reveals the hardships, betrayals, and eventual death that his brother faced inside that cruel tower. For Yeonwoo, this discovery is more than heartbreaking. It's a call to action. Driven by grief and a burning desire for revenge, he decides to enter the obelisk himself, determined not only to find out what really happened, but also to avenge the brother who lost everything inside. But Yeonwoo doesn't enter the tower empty-handed. The diary is more than just a tragic record. It's a guide. It contains priceless knowledge about the tower's rules, hidden dangers, and secrets that most climbers could only dream of knowing. With this advantage, Yeonwoo begins his journey not as a clueless newcomer, but as someone prepared, sharp, and dangerously efficient. And from the very first step, it becomes clear. He isn't here just to survive. He is here to conquer. The obelisk is no ordinary tower. It is a colossal structure that stretches beyond imagination, filled with countless layers, each one more dangerous than the last. Every floor is like its own world, with unique rules, monsters, and trials waiting to crush anyone who dares to climb. Countless warriors, magicians, and adventurers from across different realms enter the tower with dreams of glory, power, and wealth, but few ever make it beyond the lower levels. For most, the obelisk is not a path to greatness. It is a graveyard. Yeonwoo, however, is not like the others. With the diary in his hands, he knows secrets that no ordinary climber could ever guess. He learns which traps to avoid, which hidden quests to accept, and which enemies to eliminate before they grow too strong. From the very beginning, he starts making choices that set him apart, turning what should have been impossible challenges into carefully calculated victories. His first steps into the tower are brutal. The lower floors are infested with savage beasts, merciless trials, and other climbers eager to kill for the smallest advantage. But Yeonwoo's determination burns hotter than their greed. Every monster he slays and every opponent he defeats fuels his rise, making him stronger and sharper. Unlike the typical hero who stumbles into power, Yeonwoo climbs with purpose. Each strike, each decision, is guided by his brother's words and his own unshakable resolve. But the obelisk is more than just a gauntlet of battles. It is a stage where factions wage war for dominance. Ancient guilds, powerful families, and hidden organizations control the flow of resources and information. Many climbers are not just fighters, but pawns in a much larger game. Yeonwoo quickly realizes that to survive here, brute strength is not enough. He must also be cunning, using knowledge, deception, and strategy to outmaneuver his enemies. What truly sets Yeonwoo apart is his refusal to simply follow the tower's flow. Where others see impossible odds, he sees opportunities. Where others kneel to the powerful guilds, he finds ways to strike at their weaknesses. His every move shocks the players around him. Who is this newcomer who climbs with such ruthless precision? How does he know things that even veterans don't? Rumors begin to spread, and a new legend starts to form. The story of a mysterious ranker who seems to be rewriting the very rules of the game. Inside the obelisk, no one climbs alone. Every step upward brings new encounters, and each of them tests not only Yeonwoo's strength, but also his ability to trust, deceive, and outplay. The tower is a battlefield of personalities as much as it is a battlefield of swords and magic, and Yeonwoo soon discovers that some of the deadliest threats wear human faces. Among the first challenges he faces are the rival climbers who view him as nothing more than prey. Many underestimate him at first, seeing only a newcomer who shouldn't survive long. But their arrogance quickly turns into fear as they realize his tactics are unlike anything they've seen before. Yunwoo doesn't just fight, he dismantles his enemies, using knowledge from the diary to exploit their weaknesses. Every battle against these early foes spreads his reputation further, painting him as a dangerous anomaly within the tower. But it's not only enemies that shape his journey. Along the way, Yunwoo encounters figures who prove to be valuable allies, though trust never comes easily. Some are wanderers drawn by his strength. Others are outcasts who share his desire to break free from the grip of the great guilds. These alliances are often fragile, bound by mutual goals rather than friendship, but they are powerful enough to shift the balance of his battles. The true dangers, however, lie with the established powers of the obelisk, the mighty guilds and clans that control entire floors. They have wealth, armies, and ancient legacies behind them. To them, Yunwoo is a threat, a wild card who could upset the delicate hierarchy they've maintained for centuries. And so, powerful enemies begin to take notice. Guildmasters who see him as an obstacle, assassins sent to erase him, and secret organizations that fear the knowledge he carries. One of the most defining aspects of Yunwoo's rise is how he balances these relationships. Unlike many heroes, he doesn't seek companionship or belonging. His heart is hardened by grief, and his trust is scarce. To allies, he is a valuable but distant partner. To enemies, he is a merciless shadow who strikes without warning. This duality makes him unpredictable, and unpredictability in the tower is often deadlier than sheer strength. Through these shifting alliances and endless rivalries, Yunwoo's legend continues to grow. The once ordinary man who entered the tower with only a diary now begins to shape the future of the obelisk itself. But as the tower reveals more of its secrets, the line between friend and foe blurs, and Yunwoo learns that betrayal is often closer than it appears. At its core, Ranker Who Lives a Second Time is not just a tale about climbing a tower, it is a story about grief, vengeance, and destiny. While the obelisk provides a spectacular backdrop of magic and battles, the true driving force behind the narrative lies in Yunwoo's heart and the emotions that push him forward. The first and most powerful theme is revenge. Yunwoo doesn't climb for glory or wealth like so many others. His purpose is singular and burning, to avenge his brother. Every step he takes, every enemy he slays, is fueled by the memory of what was stolen from him. Unlike typical heroes who seek justice or salvation, Yunwoo's path is darker. He embraces ruthlessness, willing to cross lines that others would never dare. This makes him a far more complex protagonist, one whose journey resonates with the raw emotions of anger and loss. But beneath the layers of vengeance lies the deeper bond of family. Yunwoo's love for his brother, even after death, is what sets his journey in motion. The diary is more than a guide. It is a connection between the two of them, allowing Yunwoo to walk the path his brother once walked. Through every battle, the memory of his twin is a constant companion, a silent reminder of why he cannot afford to fail. This theme of brotherhood and sacrifice gives the story an emotional weight that elevates it beyond a simple power fantasy. The tower itself represents the theme of power, its allure, its corruption, and its cost. Every climber who enters the obelisk is tempted by strength, but few realize how much they must lose to gain it. Yunwoo sees this firsthand as guilds betray their own members, alliances shatter, and climbers sacrifice their humanity for the chance to ascend. His own rise forces him to question how much of himself he is willing to give up for the sake of victory. In this way, the story explores not only the pursuit of strength, but also the toll it takes on one's soul. Finally, there is the theme of destiny. From the moment Yunwoo steps into the tower, it feels as though he is not merely climbing for himself, but fulfilling a greater role. The secrets in his brother's diary, the unique opportunities that fall into his path, and the whispers of prophecy that circle around him all point towards something larger than one man's revenge. Is Yunwoo shaping his own fate, or has destiny already chosen him to play a part in the obelisk's grand design? This question lingers throughout the story, keeping readers hooked not just on the battles, but on the mystery of what lies ahead. In combining these themes, revenge, family, power, and destiny, Ranker Who Lives a Second Time delivers a narrative that resonates on multiple levels. It excites with its action, grips with its emotions, and intrigues with its mysteries. It is this balance that makes it stand out in the vast sea of manhwa and webtoons. As Yeonwoo continues his climb through the obelisk, the legend of the mysterious Ranker spreads wider and louder. To some, he is a hero who defies the odds. To others, he is a terrifying shadow whose ruthlessness knows no limits. But to himself, he is simply a brother, a man burdened by loss, determined to carve his vengeance into the very heart of the tower. What makes Ranker Who Lives a Second Time stand out is the way it blends fast-paced action with deep emotional storytelling. The fights are intense, filled with creative strategies, magical skills, and shocking twists. But beyond the thrill of battle, the story keeps pulling readers back to the core question: how far would you go for the ones you love? Yeonwoo's journey is not about becoming the strongest for its own sake. It is about honoring the memory of someone who should never have been forgotten. As the chapters progress, the stakes grow higher. Yeonwoo uncovers hidden truths about the tower, his brother's death, and the ancient forces pulling the strings behind it all. Every victory brings him closer to answers, but also deeper into a web of conspiracies that threaten not just his own life, but the fate of the entire obelisk. The higher he climbs, the more dangerous the game becomes, and the more impossible it is to turn back. This is what makes the manhwa so addictive. Each arc feels like peeling back another layer of a grand mystery, keeping readers hooked with the perfect mix of suspense, drama, and action. Fans of Solo Leveling or Tower of God will find themselves right at home, but Ranker Who Lives a Second Time still manages to carve its own identity with its darker tone and emotional weight. And yet, despite all the battles and betrayals, the story never loses sight of its heart: the unbreakable bond between two brothers. It's this foundation that transforms Yeonwoo from just another protagonist into a character readers truly root for, not just because he's strong, but because his pain feels real, his choices feel heavy, and his journey feels human. So, whether you're here for the thrilling battles, the intricate tower politics, or the emotional depth of Yeonwoo's quest, Ranker Who Lives a Second Time delivers it all. And the best part? His journey is far from over. The tower still holds countless secrets, and Yeonwoo's story has only just begun. If you haven't read it yet, now is the perfect time to dive into this masterpiece of revenge, destiny, and relentless determination. And if you're already a fan, then you know one thing for certain: every new chapter brings us closer to a revelation that could change everything. This is not just another manhwa. This is Ranker Who Lives a Second Time.